Just unreal on the first board. I just pushed all in to show aggression first hand, and we get it in extremely good. Good job I run it twice there, because we lose the first one. That's just gross, but what a note that this player called with Jack 9, wow. Quite sick here, but this is actually quite an easy fold on a free bet to fold. Just remembering the player and their game, they play very snug, very tight, and the small ball thing just tells me this is pocket jacks minimal. They wouldn't do this with eights or nines, and it would have been an awful flop. We're not beating anything on that flop. Some bad hands to start the session with there. Should have doubled up with the ace king, and then just two ugly hands directly after that. But we minimise the damage. A lot of people lose their stacks on them situations, so this player likes to free bet and likes to check raise a lot. Have to go small here. Not only to protect against the check raise, but to get some weaker hands to call. So going to top my stack up. What a lovely river check. So let's pull that hand up. That was a nice hand. Wow, they made the bottom end of the straight. So we're always checking this river to them. The hand was pretty much. Forgive me, that's why I paused. I needed to cough. Thank God for mute. So let's just go back and have a little look at this hand. So pretty standard. So pretty standard raise there, and pretty standard c-bet too. I've always got the overcards and really can only get called by a 10 and this hand, like ace 10, queen 10. Obviously we're blocking king 10 and jack 10, so they're unlikely. When this card comes on the turn, it's very unlikely they have 9 10 too, because they raise that on the flop. So I'm actually charging like jack queen, king queens, ace king, ace queens, always prepared to fire another bluff on the river when we miss, because if they just call, it's always going to be a drawing hand as well. Now they min click us, which is great. This is why I play such a small raise on the turn as well, so we can call some free bets. I mean, sorry, call the re-raise. We're just gonna fold to any raise there. If he checks, we're gonna bet low. And the reason why is quite simple. Our hand does not make any showdown value by the river. Now we can just fold. It's just simple. I'd rather that happen than go check 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 and then try and bluff it on the river, because we're giving him an extra 2 cards to try and make a hand that can qualify to call or raise. Yeah. So let's just ask the question on the flop. We're always going to have to make at least 1 stab if it gets checked to the river, because we ain't got enough showdown value. So we might as well make the stab there. I'm actually going to fold this. It's like you should be calling about. It's quite borderline. I could go into this hand for ages, but I really don't like free betting here, which is why I'm going to fold. Am I going to fold? Yeah. I really don't like just calling. I should free bet to try and isolate. It was an option, I mean, but I've got to give No Go a little bit of credit for, because I know if this player calls my free bet, I'm probably behind. So I'm happy with my fold there. So yeah, we get min clicked here, and then we hit the absolute gin card on the river. Now I'm always checking it in the hopes that he's going to bet at least a pot. If I bet here, he just calls. I don't think he raises for value. With this particular hand, he probably does actually. But just to make sure that he can't get away from hands like king queen, jack queen. I mean, I know that ace 10 ain't in his range, but it's really only jack queen and king queen I'm trying to target for a river bet here. Like I say, if I bet, they can just call. But if I check and let them hopefully make the mistake of betting them hands, which is exactly what he does, a nice bet as well of a pot size, it absolutely just snaps me. He's only losing to king queen. I mean, he's only losing to my hand. He's very unlucky, and jack 8. It's a bit of a cooler, I mean, but he shouldn't be snap calling my shove there. He should at least think about it. I'm sure he will next time. But yeah, that was a nice hand, and that hand just played itself. Like on the flop, I know what I'm gonna do on the turn and the river on every different card scenario. It's like when I brick, I'm gonna bet. Fold to re-raises, obviously. With the particular hand that he had, obviously we don't get the bluff. The bluff don't get through. We get caught that particular time. So it's a good job we made our hand. But you know, I don't lose a huge pot. I just bet probably half the pot on the river. In fact, no. When they re-raise us on the turn, I always just check fold when I brick that one actually. But when I bet the flop, the plan was to free barrel, which I do believe. I mean, that was a tight raise to a free bet there, but again, this player, I ain't got enough time to explain why I fold to that free bet really. Let's just carry on. But yeah, noticing some, I wouldn't say that was poor play from Darling, but the call with the Jack 9 was diabolical. Always going to go small again here. I always have to open. Always going small again there. The only hands that can call on that flop, again, he's going to free bet with the ace. He's going to free bet with any good holdings there pre-flop. So I can pretty much rule out an ace all the time. I'm always raising, always opening, always c-betting, and always going small. And we're getting so much credit for our whole range with that particular strategy, because we're going to stay very balanced, of course. But I kind of develop a habit of just opening. I'm opening pretty much in the cutoff and on the button with any two cards in some situations, depending on the lineup on the game. And then for the last 4k hands, 4.1k hands, I've played a very wide 41% and c-bet 74% of the time, which is just pure aggression. It's like, looking at these stats, you'd think, what an absolute maniac, and how are they beating the game? But the way is because it's small ball poker. Every one of these bets is a small bet, just stabbing at my opponents constantly. Always attacking ranges, always reducing ranges, just. And I almost look like a call-in station with the small free bet percentage, and again, I'm not just limping in there. And this is one where I am going to shut down, because all the cards that he called would pretty much get there now. Even like a 9-10 can continue. All the Jack 9s, Jack 8s, like all the rag hands that just call and don't free bet hit this board pretty hard. This bar's just doing my head in a little bit, to be honest with you. I'll have to get used to not going down so far with my mouse. I've tried so much to get rid of it, and it's just nothing I can do in the settings, as far as I know. Actually, continuing here. Notice how much these small bets get through. I mean, I did expect to kind of get called on that one, and even potentially go 3 barrels when I'm putting them on queen 10s and different ranges. Easy fold here, I'm not calling out a position. See, I do really like this hand, but calling out a position with it is a bit much of an ask. But I am going to peel the flop off here. It's actually a good flop for my hand, and a good flop to bet really small and try and take some control. If they just call, it's lots of ace king, king queens, and different type holdings. I like the just call. The only hand I'm really worried about now is ace 5, but I think we get a lot of information here, and we've always got the hearts to back us up here. That's not a great river, but there is lots of ace highs that are calling us down here, which we're still good against. But there's no value in betting, so I'm just going to check and call some river bets. I think I'm good here. We do get some attempts of bluffs with like any ace here. Might think try and get us to fold a 7. I think we have to call here. Really trying to catch an ace jack, ace queen, even some king queens. I think there's more bluffs in his range here than value hands. Really, only the ace 5 worries me. He did have the overpair. It was a good bet on the river by him. And I'm actually going to end this session now. Just getting used to getting back to playing online, and yeah, I analysed that hand quite well, but I really didn't think of the overpairs, and the reason why is because the kings and the queens and the jacks and the tens all re-raise on that flop. I don't think they just call my small bet. I think like 8s and 9s are possibly the only hand that he catches me with there. So interesting whether he would bluff with them hands I mentioned. I think he does. Maybe he does check down with the ace king. It's enough showdown value, but I think he does bet. But here I have to take a note on the sizing because it was half pot. You see, I really could have took a stab on that flop, but now I have to fold. So, still a positive session. Always think of it in big blinds. 67 big blinds is a good session, especially for a short session. So I'm going to lock this one up, have a look what other tables are running, and also make a few adjustments to my stream. And this is just really experimental at the moment.